My dear friends, welcome back to BSpice. In this session, once again, we'll focus on OT cybersecurity, wherein we'll talk about risk management for OT system. So, if you are a first time viewer, wanted to inform you, friends, last few sessions, in fact, 7 sessions we had, covered the OT related cybersecurity aspects. Is a very important one, and I thank all those who supported for this initiative. And I urge others also to support and go through this video because this is very important for instrumentation. You would have seen, friends, in the job description, in the job portal, you can always see the this requirement, instrumentation engineer with OT cybersecurity knowledge is advantageous. So it's very important actually. That is why I took initiative to upload this. So yeah, thanks again for all your support. Of course, whoever has supported this initiative, and a big salute to the members of BSpice who has been encouraging us to proceed with any good videos. And almost now we are closing on 2.5 years now. It's possible only because of those support. Okay. Right. So let's get started with this details on the risk management for OT system. Friends, there are three aspects actually, rather four aspects in the risk management, friends. First, we need to come out to the risk, meaning framing the OT risk. So that is what we are going to talk. Then we need to assess actually that we are going to talk in the next. Then we need to respond. Then after that, you need to monitor. So all these aspects we will cover in the subsequent sites, but subsequent videos. And this particular session is more on the framing the OT risk. Okay. Having said this, friends, organization should consider incorporating an analysis for cybersecurity effects on OT system that impact personal safety and environment as well as mitigating the controls. So it's our responsibility to incorporate an analysis for cybersecurity effects on OT system. Organization may also want to consider the impact of legacy system, the old system, and components on their environment. Specifically, legacy system may be unable to adequately support cybersecurity, right? To prevent risk from exceeding organizational tolerance levels. This is very common. So another major concern for OT system operator is the availability of services provided by the OT system. So the OT system may be part of a critical infrastructure like water or power, where there is a significant need for continuous and reliable operations. All these we need to keep it in mind while framing the OT risk, friends. That is what I have meant here. So as a result, OT system may have a strict requirements for availability and recovery. Organization, that is, we should understand and plan for the level of redundancy required to achieve the desired resilience for the operating environment and incorporate these requirements into their risk framing. You got it? So when we do the framing the risk for OT system, we need to take into this redundancy aspects also. So this will help organization to make decision that avoid unintended consequence on those who depend on the services provided. More specifically, organization should consider identifying interdependent OT system that pose cybersecurity risk that threaten the system availability. So additionally, we should also consider how an incident could propagate to the connected system and system components. So we should also focus on these aspects while framing the OT risk. Right. To continue few more, a OT system may be interconnected with other system because a failure in one system or process can easily cascade to other system within or outside the organization, isn't it? Yes. So impact propagation could occur due to both physical and logical dependencies, right? So properly communicating the result of risk assessment to the operators of connected or interdependent system and process is one way to manage such impact. So we need to properly communicate. Logical damage to an interconnected OT could occur if a cyber incident propagates to the connected OT system. For example, a virus or worm that may propagate to a connected OT system and impact the system, isn't it? So all these we need to focus while framing the OT network risk. So physical damage, we talked logical, now we'll discuss physical. Physical damage could also propagate to other interconnected OT or related physical domain. For example, the impact could result in a physical hazard that degrades the nearby physical environment or common shared dependencies. For example, the power supply, or result in a shortage of material that will be needed for a later stage in the industrial process. So this is the physical damage. So that is also we need to consider. Organization may want to consider incorporating resources such as the NIST National Vulnerability Database, NVD, we call it as NVD, and MITRE for Industrial Control System Framework into their process for assessing the risk to the mission and OT system. These two aspects we should consider. So you may be wondering here, what is this NIST, right? So the NIST is nothing but National Institute of Standard Technology, right? We already covered this actually, right? So yeah, this is, friends, the NIST NVD, a National Vulnerability Database. Okay. So just give me a moment. Okay. NVD, we'll talk about NVD. Okay. Just give me a moment. So the NIST, as I said earlier, the National Institute of Standards and Technology. Okay. So the NIST NVD is nothing but what? National Vulnerability Database. It's a US government official repository of information about cybersecurity vulnerabilities in software and hardware. So basically, this NVD, it provides a comprehensive standard-based resource for vulnerability management, security management, and compliance, basically. That is what. So that will help to, what do you call guide us on the framework for assessing the risk into the mission and the OT system. That is one thing actually. That is NVD. Okay, NIST NVD. Then second is about the MITRE right? This is another aspect for, framing the network actually. This also we covered. Maybe if you are a first time viewer, I want to tell you also on this. What is MITRE? MITRE is nothing but, it's a company basically. Okay. And ATTCK stands for Adversarial Tactics, Techniques, and Common Knowledge. Okay. So again, it's a globally accessible framework that catalogs the real world cybersecurity adversary behavior to help the organization to detect, analyze, and defend against threat. That is the point. So these two aspects we should focus, friends. Okay. So the impact of a cyber incident in an OT environment may include physical and digital effects that risk the assessment, so that we need to incorporate the following. What are all those? Impact on the safety and use of safety assessment, physical impact of a cyber incident on an OT system, including larger physical environment and effect on the process it controls. The consequences for the risk assessment on non-digital control components within an OT. So these aspects also we should take note actually when we do the framing of the risk. Okay. Then during risk framing, organizations should select appropriate risk or assessment methodologies that include OT. So when evaluating the potential damage from a cyber incident, we should, organization with OT system may consider how a cyber incident could manipulate the operation to impact the physical environment and what design features exist in the OT system to prevent or mitigate an impact. Okay, we need to focus all these actually, and how a physical incident could emerge based on these conditions. So these are the some of the very important aspects we should focus while framing the OT risk, friends. Okay, so in another aspects also, organization may consider incorporating cyber attack and IT failure scenario in their process hazard analysis. We do the PHA, right? So during that time, we should also focus in incorporating the cyber attack and IT failure scenarios. So as part of the risk framing, we should also need to consider assumption about how risk is assessed, responded, and monitored across the organization, and the risk tolerance for the organization, the level of risk that can be accepted as part of achieving the strategic goals and objective and priority, and trade-off as considered as part of the managing risk. These aspects also very important. Then in context of OT, the potential for damage to equipment, human safety, and natural environment and other critical infrastructure is part of the organization, isn't it? So we need to consider evaluating the potential physical impact for all parts of the OT system. So how we can do this? One approach is based on the NIST FIPS actually, NIST FIPS. So 199, which specify the systems are categorized as low impact, moderate impact, or high impact for the security objectives of confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So you may be wondering what is NIST? Again, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, FIPS. So it's 199 is the US federal standard for categorizing the information and information based on the security impact level. Okay. So FIPS full name is Federal Information Processing Standard Publication 199. Okay. So this is to establish a consistent method for security categorization of federal information and system, friends. These are some of the aspects we should focus. Okay, coming back to this, the low impact, moderate impact, and high impact. As you can see here, friends, category, right? See, outage at multiple sites. What we call it as high, because if it is significant disruption to the operation on multiple sites with the restoration expected to require 1 or more days, then that comes under high impact. Moderate means operational disruption at multiple sites with restoration expected required more than 1 hour. This is days and this is hour. Then low impact means partially disturbed operation at multiple sites with restoration to full capability requiring less than 1 hour. So this is about the outage. Then when we talk about the national infrastructure and services, impact multiple sector or disturbs community services in a major way, that comes under high. Then moderate means potential to impact sector level beyond the company, at a level beyond the company. And low impact means no impact to the sector beyond the individual company, and little to no impact on the community. Then cost, anything more than 25% is high, anything more than 5% revenue is moderate, and less than 5 is low. Then some legal aspects also there actually, violation. And public confidence, loss of brand image high, and loss of customer confidence modern, and none and low impact. People on site, fatality, that comes under high. Then loss of workday or major injury moderate, and first aid or recordable injury is a low impact basically. And people off site, fatality or major community incident, nearby people, that comes under high. Then compliance or local community impact moderate, and no complaints low impact. And additionally the environment, all these aspects we should focus, friends. The point is we should focus on this NIST FIPS guidelines. Of course, another approach is also there, that is based on ISA 62443 part 3.2, provides some example of definition for determining the system categorization utilizing the OT impacts. This also we covered, in fact. You can also watch if you are interested, friends. So this is about what you call evaluating the potential physical impact. Then the last Finally, to support the risk assessment process, organizations should also define how the likelihood of occurrence for cybersecurity events will be determined to maintain the consistency when assessing the risk. For this, again, this NIST SP 830 revision 1 provides a guidance for organization to develop likelihood weighted risk. So this is the typical example, friends. As you can see here, likelihood of threat event initiation at occurrence, likelihood that threat events result in adverse impact. So if you see here, very high, high, moderate, low, very low, low, moderate, high, very high. So this factor results in low. If, for example, likelihood of threat event initiation or occurrence is very high, and likelihood that threat event result in adverse impacts is very low, then the resultant is low. For example, if the likelihood of threat event initiation of occurrence is very high, and similarly likelihood that threat events results in adverse impact is also very high, then results in very high. So this matrix also we should follow, friends, while framing the risk assessment, OT risk. So that's all I have for this, friends. So the next session we will focus on assessing the risk in a OT environment, and also will focus on what you call the other aspects in the sense what you call responding to the risk and monitoring the risk in the next session. Thanks for watching. Take care. So we'll continue the risk management in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.